My son and daughter-in-law moved in to save money, but their strict rules took over my life. Now, I've reclaimed my home and set my own boundaries. I'm a 58-year-old man, a retired military veteran. It all started 2 years ago when my son and his wife moved in with me. They were expecting their first child, and with the housing market being what it was, I offered them a place to stay until they could get on their feet. My wife had passed away a few years prior, and I'll admit I was looking forward to having a full house again. At first, everything was great. My grandson was born, a beautiful, healthy boy who quickly became the light of my life. I loved being a grandfather, getting to experience all the joys of parenthood without the sleepless nights and diaper changes. Well, maybe a few diaper changes. I was always happy to help out. But as the months went by, I started to notice a change in my daughter-in-law. She'd always been particular about things, but now her demands were becoming extreme. It started small, rearranging furniture without asking, throwing out my belongings because they were clutter, insisting on a strict schedule for everything from meals to TV time. I try to be understanding. New motherhood is tough, and everyone copes differently. But then came the rules. Oh boy, the rules. Dad, my son approached me one day, looking uncomfortable. We need to talk about some house rules. I raised an eyebrow. House rules? Son, I've been living here for 30 years. What kind of rules are we talking about? He handed me a typed list. As I scanned it, my jaw dropped. No shoes in the house, no cooking after 7 p.m., no friends over without 48 hours notice. And the kicker? I needed permission to hold my own grandson. This is a joke, right? I asked, looking up at my son. The pained expression on his face told me it wasn't. It's just, Dill thinks it's important for the baby to have structure, he explained weakly. I took a deep breath, reminding myself that patience was a virtue. Son, I understand wanting structure, but this is my home. Don't you think some of these are a bit excessive? He shrugged, not meeting my eyes. Maybe you could just try it for a while? For the baby's sake? Against my better judgment, I agreed. And so began my life under house arrest in my own home. Weeks passed, and the rules only got stricter. I felt like a stranger in the place I'd called home for decades. My friends stopped coming by because of the hassle. I couldn't even watch TV after 8 p.m. because it might disrupt the baby's sleep schedule. Never mind that the nursery was on the other side of the house. But I bit my tongue. This was for my family, I told myself. It's temporary. They'll move out soon. Then came the day that pushed me over the edge. It was the week before my grandson's first birthday. I was excited, already planning what gift to get him. As I came down for breakfast, I overheard my son and Dill talking in hushed tones. We can't have him there, Dill was saying. He'll ruin everything. But it's his house, my son protested weakly, and he's the baby's grandfather. I don't care. It's our son's special day, and I won't have him messing it up with his oldness. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Oldness? Was that really how they saw me? Clearing my throat, I stepped into the kitchen. They jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Morning, I said, keeping my voice level. Couldn't help but overhear. Is there something you want to tell me about the birthday party? Dill plastered on a fake smile. Oh, we were just discussing some logistics. Nothing for you to worry about. I looked at my son, silently pleading with him to stand up for me. He avoided my gaze. Right, I said slowly. Well, I was thinking of getting the little guy. Actually, they'll cut me off. We've already got all the gifts covered. We don't want to spoil him, you know? I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Of course. Well, I'll just be in my room then. As I turned to leave, I heard Dill mutter, See, this is why we can't have him at the party. He'll just make everything about him. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Over the next few days, I watched as they transformed my home into a Pinterest-perfect party venue. Balloons, streamers, a custom cake, no expense was spared. And through it all, not a word was said to me about attending. The night before the party, I made my decision. If they didn't want me at my grandson's birthday, fine, but they wouldn't be having it in my house. I waited until they were asleep, then got to work. I packed their belongings, every last onesie and stuffed animal. I boxed up their precious organic baby food and BPA-free bottles. Then I called a locksmith. By dawn, everything was ready. I sat in my armchair, waiting. The shriek that echoed through the house when Dill discovered their packed bags would have put a banshee to shame. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, storming into the living room with my son, hot on her heels. I met her gaze calmly. "I think it's time for you to leave." "Leave? We can't leave. The party is today. All our friends will be here any minute." I shrugged. "Not my problem. This is my house, and I've decided I don't want the party here." My son finally found his voice. "Dad, come on. You can't be serious." I turned to him, feeling a pang of sadness at the confusion in his eyes. "I'm dead serious, son. I've put up with a lot over the past year. The rules, the disrespect, being treated like a nuisance in my own home. But being told I can't attend my own grandson's birthday party? That's where I draw the line." Dill's face contorted with rage. "You? You were eavesdropping on us? In my own kitchen? You bet I was. And I heard every word about how I'd ruin everything with my oldness." My son at least had the decency to look ashamed. "Dad, we didn't mean—" "Save it." I cut him off. "I've made my decision. You have an hour to get your things and leave. I've already called your aunt. She's happy to host the party at her place." Dill exploded. "You can't do this. We have rights." I stood up, drawing myself to my full height. "Actually, I can. I've checked with a lawyer. You have no lease, pay no rent, and have overstayed your welcome. Now you can leave quietly, or I can call the police and have you removed for trespassing. Your choice." For a moment, I thought Dill might actually try to physically fight me. But then, deflating like a punctured balloon, she stormed off to gather their things. My son lingered, looking lost. "Dad, I'm sorry. We never meant for things to get this far." I sighed, feeling the weight of my years. "I know, son, but sometimes sorry isn't enough. You stood by and watched while your wife disrespected me in my own home. You didn't stand up for me when I needed you. That hurts more than any rule or insult she could come up with." Tears welled in his eyes. "What can I do to fix this?" I shook my head. "Right now? Nothing. You need to leave, figure out your priorities, and decide what kind of man, what kind of son, you want to be. When you've done that, we can talk." An hour later, I watched from the window as they loaded up their car. My grandson, blissfully unaware of the drama, babbled happily in his car seat. As they pulled away, I felt a mixture of relief and profound sadness. The house was quiet now, almost too quiet, but it was mine again. Over the next few weeks, I received a barrage of angry calls and messages from family members and friends of my son and Dill. I was called every name in the book: cruel, heartless, a terrible grandfather. But I stood my ground. Those who took the time to listen to my side of the story understood, even if they didn't fully agree with my methods. My son called a month later asking if we could meet. Over coffee at a neutral location, he poured his heart out. He'd realized how much he'd let Dill control everything, how he'd failed to stand up for me and for himself. They were in counseling now, he said, working on their issues. "I miss you, Dad," he said, his voice cracking. "And I know the baby misses you too." I felt my resolve weakening. "I miss you both too, more than you know." We talked for hours, hashing out everything that had gone wrong and how we could move forward. It wouldn't be easy, I knew. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. But as I looked at my son, really looked at him, I saw the boy I'd raised, the man I'd always hoped he'd become. "Maybe," I said cautiously, "you could bring the little one over this weekend, just for a visit." The smile that lit up his face was answer enough. As for Dill, well, that's a work in progress. She's not thrilled about having to find her own place to live, but I hear she's learning some valuable lessons about respect and boundaries. Who knows, maybe one day we'll even be able to laugh about all this. But for now, I'm enjoying the peace and quiet of my home, looking forward to spoiling my grandson rotten this weekend. and reminding myself that sometimes the hardest battles we fight are the ones closest to home. Life's too short for toxicity, folks. Even when it comes wrapped in a family package, stand your ground, know your worth, and never let anyone make you feel like a guest in your own life. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this one.